Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to my studio. In this series of videos, I'm going to show you how to make the beautiful Jenny Floppy sun hat. A wide brim sun hat is a dramatic showstopper. Worked in a simple stitch, this gorgeous project is accessible to even the beginner crafter. The addition of wire in the brim adds a professional finish to be proudly worn. In the first video, I'll show you how to begin the crown of the hat. In the second video, I'll show you how we do the increases to create the brim. And in the third and final video, I'm going to show you how to add wire to make this adorable hat have so much structure. Let's get started. To make the hat, we'll be using Be So Fresh yarn, which is 100% linen sport weight yarn. It comes in colorways foam, night, and sand dollar. The Jenny hat uses sand dollar, and we're also going to be using a size F5 or 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, and we're going to be using 19 gauge millinery wire with a joiner for creating the stiffness in the brim. Millinery wire is a type of wire that does not kink when it's bent, and that's what gives the hat the ability to bend and be reshaped afterwards again. You can find this list of materials along with the written instructions on my website. There's a link in the video description. You can download a copy of the pattern or order a printed copy as well. And you can also order Be So Fresh yarn on my website. All of those links are also in the video description. We are now perfectly prepared to add our wire in the final round. Now, if you've ever crocheted around your tails before, you know exactly what you need to do to crochet wire around the brim of a hat. It looks a little bit daunting, but trust me, if you've crocheted around tails before, you can absolutely do this. So you notice that this was wound up. When you buy millinery wire, it's going to come coiled like that, and the beauty of millinery wire is that no matter how often it's bent or how it's bent, it can always be reshaped because it does not kink. So you're going to want to smooth it out, and we can do this as we go once we have it attached to our hat as well. Now I have a piece that's longer than what I need it to be, so if I measure it around the edge of my hat, I want to make sure I have a few inches too many, and you'll see that this piece is actually significantly longer than I need it to be. But that's okay, because you want to be able to adjust it when you're close to the end. You'll notice I already have my joiner on one side as well. A joiner is like a straw, let's say. Sometimes they come in metal form, sometimes they come in plastic form like this, but it's a little straw that goes over both ends of your wire. And I'll show you how to do this at the end, but you see you're going to join them in like that when you're ready to finish up your last round. So what I'm going to do to start is somewhere in the middle of my wire. I don't really want to work around the ends. We'll get to that when we get to that point. I'm going to line up the wire with my yarn and with the last round, and I'm going to single crochet in each stitch around, working into my stitch with the wire on top, so that as I pull my yarn through the stitch and then finish my single crochet, I've now wrapped the wire inside my single crochet. It's not very difficult to do in the beginning of the round because, again, it's just like crocheting over your tails. As we work our way around, it will get a little more cumbersome, but I'll show you how I adjust for that when we get there. But basically all you're doing is crocheting around, single crochet in each stitch and working around the wire as you go for the entire round. When we get to the last, let's say 8 inches, we will start adjusting for the join. You notice I'm kind of going snug with it too. I want to make sure that I keep my stitches snug, and because I have to go a little loosey-goosey to get around the wire, once I finish my stitch, I kind of pull on it a little bit so that it stays nice and snug. I don't want a whole lot of gap between the stitch and the wire. As we're going along, you want to stretch your stitches across the wire so that we're not getting them too densely together, because you want this to be stretched pretty flat when we're done. So if you can do that as you go, so you want to press onto both sides of the yarn and stretch it so you can ease the wire along the stitches. This will make it easier to get your final easing done at the end of the round. I'm almost finished crocheting around the wire on the brim of this hat, and you'll see that I have stretched the crochet to ease it around so that our edge is completely flat. And now that I'm coming to the last few stitches, I want to make sure that I get these slightly overlapped by about 1 inch to 1.5 inches before joining it. If you don't have that length, you will want to cut it to get to about that length. And that's why I said start with a longer length than you think you need in the beginning. So now I'll add the joiner to the other side of my wire and finish up this round. So now you're going to be holding it a little bit more firmly. You're going to be holding the whole thing together with your yarn. And to go over the joiner is probably a little bulkier than the actual wire, and you want to continue to work snug over all of your stitches so that there isn't a whole lot of gap between the wire and your work. And if there's a little kink in here, like just the fact that I'm manipulating the wire right now means it's kinking a little bit. Once we finish our round, we'll be able to ease it through the crochet a little bit better again and be able to bend it as we need to bend or straighten out or whatever we need to do. The other beauty of putting this type of millinery wire in here is that when you want to shape the hat to create ruffles or different types of bends, you can do that as well, and it doesn't make it permanent. You will be able to pull it back out and shape it to be a straight edge as well. So now we're close to our end, and I'm just going to ease the stitches around again to try to get this flat. And we'll just take a little bit of stretching our stitches around. The fact that it was the right size to begin with meant that I'm confident that by easing them around, I'll get it to work. Okay, so I've eased my stitches around again, and you see we've got a much flatter join again. As you're crocheting, you're bunching the stitches up. So you're having to overcompensate for just the act of crocheting around it as you go. Seems weird, but you get the hang of it, and it's totally worth it in the end to have this gorgeous hat. Okay, so we've made it all the way around. We're going to slip stitch to join just like on any round of crochet. Fasten off our yarn, weave in our loose ends, and then you just want to manipulate the body of work so that you get all those stitches smooth all the way around once again. Make sure to watch all the videos in this playlist so you can learn how to make your very own Jenny's Floppy Sun Hat crochet pattern. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you in the next video.